Have you heard all the flap about putting VGs, Vortex Generators, on your wings and all the fantastic benefits that brings? We put VGs on this airplane, so stick with us on FlyWire where we see whether it did any good or not. Hey, I'm Scott Purdue, and today on FlyWire we're going to take a look at what VGs do to wing performance. If you saw the wing performance test I did before, we put this is a stock Cessna wing with a Sportsman cuff, and then we put the WingX wing extensions on it, and that significantly improved the lift. We couldn't get the wing to break and stall. All it would do is get into a mush and then a phugoid oscillation. So that was pretty interesting, but the biggest effect is it really slowed the roll rate down. That was a little disconcerting. I didn't like that very much. So the whole objective is at some point we're going to put VGs on the airplane and then see how that works. See if it changed the stall, change the roll rate, change any of the performance aspects at all. So let's check it out. Before we start, I thought it might be a good idea to get into just what a Sportsman cuff and the WingX are for those who don't have first-hand knowledge. Both are available from Stein Aviation, and I'll post a link in the website below to their website below the video. So if you're interested, they're great folks and they sell and install these great products. So give them a shot if you think it's cool. This is a graphic from Stein right here, and it shows the profile of the Cessna wing. The black line is the stock wing, the blue line is other folks' modifications, and the orange line is the Sportsman cuff. And you can see it adds a droop leading edge that's almost 2 additional inches from the original profile, which also adds about 4 square feet of wing area. The result is a different camber from the wing, and the results, frankly, are impressive. So much so that Cessna tried to copy it in later models of Skywagon. You can see that other there. I'll detail my actual results later, but full disclosure, this airplane came to me with a Sportsman cuff already on it. So I used the Cessna handbook numbers as the stall reference because I didn't have a stock wing to test. Nobody else would do it, so what the hell. This is a picture of the wingtip of this airplane, and you can easily see the additional area presented by the Sportsman cuff. It's pretty cool. Caught a bit, actually. And that brings us to the WingX Stol extensions. They're from a company called Air Research Technologies in Canada, and Stein Aviation sells them here in the United States. It adds about 18 inches of wing on each side for a total of 33 feet. And this additional wing area works out to about 12.4 square feet, if you want to make it exact. And this makes it a different wing, frankly. ART claims a 30% improvement on takeoff roll, an increase of climb rate by 12%, and a reduced roll rate. One of the biggest improvements that I think is the increase in gross weight by as much as 400 pounds. Again, I'll outline my results a little later in the video, but one of my observations is that it makes hangering the airplane a little bit harder. That extra 3 feet of wingspan makes it a 39-foot wingspan. That's a lot. Just thinking about it in simple terms, more wing area equals more lift. More lift means quicker takeoffs, better climb, the ability to cruise at slower speeds, and therefore more efficiently at altitude. Yeah, that's true. But I guess the only real trouble with that is that I like to fly faster, not slower. Induced drag may be a little bit higher, but what the heck. The WingX Stol allows you to bump up your gross weight, and that is a really cool thing. And in this particular airplane, that gross weight went to 2,950 pounds. Honestly, I'm not crazy about flying it that heavy, but it'll do it legally. Now for the good stuff. Micro Aerodynamics Vortex Generators. The kit they sent you is pretty complete and comes with just about everything you need, short of rubbing alcohol. I bought this several years ago and had the vanes painted when I painted the airplane. There are 3 different sizes of VG vanes, one for the wings, one for the vertical stabilizer / rudder, and the largest one for the elevator. I did have to replace the glue. It's Loctite 330 pins because the one I had in the kit timed out. It's amazing stuff. You can get it from Amazon. But it's amazing stuff, and I'm not sure how to get the VGs off now. They're stuck. But you use a template to locate the leading edge at 3 places on the wing. And then you use a piece of string to form the reference line over the entire wing, and you use that to place the templates. Once you've got that down, you measure the leading edges of the vane cutouts, where the VGs are going to be, to the leading edge, and then the distance between the vane placements and all along the wing. And from that, you can make sure you're going to have placement correct according to the instructions. Moving to the tail, you place the vertical templates and the elevator templates, and then checking their placement as well. If it's all good to go, then you can begin cleaning and the placement of the vanes. I found a ladder, this ladder perfect for me, so I could sit down right at the wing and work on about 8 vanes at a time. Using denatured alcohol, I'd clean the vanes and then the vane placement areas, and then I would spray the vane spots with activator. I would use a small tray to squeeze out some of that glue and then spread it around on the vane and place the vanes, and then clean up all the excess glue before it hardened, and then I could on to the next set of vanes. This isn't really an install video, but it was a very easy upgrade to do. Don't be afraid of it. It took about a day and a half, just a little time. And after letting the vanes dry out overnight, it was time to test their impact on the airplane performance, which is why we're doing this in the first place. Actually, the video, I was doing the VGs for other reasons. But the first interesting data point to look at would be the takeoff roll. My data collection system, I'll admit it had a big failure. Operator error, whatever, I failed to capture the takeoff and landing roll for this Vortex generator test. When I get it up and running again, I'll post results in the comments section down below for those who are really interested in seeing what those numbers are. See if they changed. Remember that this airplane came to me with the Sportsman Cuff already installed. So when I use book numbers, it isn't from a test that I ran, but from the owner's manual. I did compare the takeoff and landing rolls for the Sportsman Cuff only and then the Sportsman Cuff WingX combination after it was installed. Of course, my results are mine with my airplane. Your mileage may vary, so don't hold me to your airplane. It's just what I saw with mine. The Sportsman baseline for takeoff roll was 394 feet, and that compares with the Sportsman WingX combo and a takeoff roll of 272 feet. That's a 31% improvement. I'd say that's pretty close to the 30% claimed by the art folks. For the landing roll, technique actually plays the biggest part in this. And with the technique that I used, a Sportsman cuffed airplane attained a landing roll of 414 feet. The Sportsman WingX airplane was able to perform that landing in 296 feet. And that's a 29% improvement between the Sportsman and the Sportsman's WingX combo. The takeoff speed was 50 miles an hour with the Sportsman cuff, and with the Sportsman WingX combo, it got into the air at 41 miles an hour. That's a pretty big improvement. And also the takeoff, I like to time my takeoff speeds, when I hit my numbers and things like that. And usually the Sportsman cuffed airplane would get takeoff in about 7 seconds. With the WingX, it was a 5-second takeoff roll, and that's impressive. You may think differently. You may have a Carbon Cub that does amazing things or something even better. But I didn't mention these results in the previous wing performance testing video, so you have a secret. But I'm going to post the table of the stall speed flap settings here in a second. But with the Sportsman alone, a stall break was achieved with any flap, and with that flaps 40, it was a very hard break that I experienced. The funny thing was that a clean wing only developed a mush with no stall break at all. But generally, these results confirm those achieved by the first flight test they did of a Sportsman cuff in a Skyline. They didn't get a stall in a clean wing. Reviewing the results from the Sportsman WingX stall test from the first video showed generally that the combination of the two would not result in a true stall break in any flap configuration. The airplane would begin mushing at various descent rates and enter a pitch phugoid with the yoke full aft. The stall speed I logged was where the descent rate began to build and the pitch oscillations were fully developed. That may or may not be the correct speed to choose. That is what I did. I surmised after that test that the elevator did not have the control authority to achieve a critical angle of attack for the wing. As the result, it's of course as a result of the improved lift performance of the wing with the WingX extensions. A lot of extra lift. But by adding the Vortex generators to the airplane, it would attain a clean stall brake in all configurations. And frankly, that alone makes me feel better. It means the flight controls are now matched with the flying surfaces and how much lift it produces. Control is enhanced in my view. Whatever the flap configuration, none of the stalls are a hard brake. They're all very gentle and even, very well coordinated. There was no tendency to mush, and the airplane did not develop a pitch fuga in any configuration. The speeds were a bit higher than that logged for the Sportsman WingX Stol series, but they are actually very close to the Sportsman Cuff alone. But to me, the biggest difference was the ailerons, the elevator, and the rudder. They all had very positive control feel well past the stall. It has been my experience that the elevator runs out of control authority at slow speeds, making it a good technique just to keep a little bit of power on all the way through touchdown to improve airflow over the wing and the tail. The other thing that was the other impact that VGs had that was significant was on roll rate. And, well, like an idiot, I forgot to set a baseline for roll rate with the Sportsman Cuff alone. But before I did the VGs, I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. And I realized that I needed that number for the Sportsman WingX combination before I installed the VGs. And I did that. And that's a good thing. Because the result that adding the VGs improved the roll rate in all configurations by an average of 28%. Probably a ridiculous number to say across the board, 28%. In cruise, it was 16% improvement, which is significant. But the biggest improvement at all was it flaps 40 at 60 miles an hour, and that's the speed I used prior to threshold for my approaches. And that's where it was sloppy, and I didn't like it. But the improvement was a whopping 42%. No kidding, 42%. And I got to tell you that I was ecstatic with this result. Probably the most important result that I could have hoped for from the VG installation. Well, a while back I created a triangular GPS waypoint test track with 10-mile legs. And flying this track allows me to use GPS to determine the true airspeed because it cancels out the winds doing a triangle. Yeah, it's math. And it's easy to do and it's reliable. So just for fun, I thought you might like to see the true airspeed test track that I used. The result was a loss of about 1 mile an hour, maybe just a little bit less from my previous speed run across the same course using the new engine, the Sportsman Cuff and the WingX. Essentially, I get about 155 mile an hour true or about 134 knots. Not too shabby. Well, that was the Stol series and the speed run, triangular speed run we did with this wing. Again, stock wing with Sportsman Cuff and WingX extensions. It adds about 3 feet to the wing, and then we put VGs on it. And this test was all about the VGs and what the impact of the performance was. And honestly, the Stol results, they're just about, there's not a major change in Stol results. So they didn't really change that. So the big difference is, what did they do for the roll? And as we talked about during the video, they significantly improved the roll rate. And that's the thing I was really worried about. It was really a slow roller with the wing extensions. And you ran out of elevator authority when you're trying to land. I don't like to land power off, and in this airplane you pretty much can't do that. You got to use a little bit of power to get that airflow over the elevator and over the wings so you don't run out of energy right there at end game. If you do, you're going to bounce, and with the spring gear, well, you know, it bounces. So that's the best way to do that. And how do you fix that? Well, I was hoping that VGs would fix that. And my experience was that it did in a major way. You heard what the roll rate improvement was, both in cruise and low speed. I'm very impressed. But what I'm most impressed with is the control response at slow speed. It makes an enjoyable airplane to fly again. These VGs are very, very cool, and I think it adds to the safety margin. And the big excitement for me is the elevator and the rudder authority at those slow speeds, particularly in landing. The VGs, they're almost twice the size for the elevator, and it makes a huge difference. It is really, really cool. And the rudder, they're on both sides of the rudder, and it improves the rudder authority all the way throughout the entire regime, but in particular in that low speed. So overall, I'd say 2 thumbs up on that one. And okay, so I don't go faster. I ended up losing about a mile an hour, which, I mean, that's noise. Could have been a mistake that I made. So pretty impressive. I'm really happy with this particular upgrade, and I suggest that you check it out for you. It's not hard to do, and it's not too expensive either. So if you like the video, thanks for watching. Hit the bell if you want to be notified of the next one that comes out. I sure appreciate all that. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time on FlyWire.